talk a little bit about fundamentals because fundamentals have driven my US dollar rand trade this week. And because obviously gold, if you're going to trade the US dollar, if you're going to trade a US dollar pair, you have to also be trading it with gold. So, as we've been speaking last week, the US dollar fell drastically. And as I've been saying, during COVID, gold spikes up. Uh, it's fundamental knowledge. Everyone knows it. When there's tragic events or when there's economic uncertainty, everyone floods their money into gold and the yen pairs. And then what happens is that the US dollar falls. So we've been seeing the US dollar fall for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I still do have my position open on the US dollar Mexican pesos. But this is, for example, the US dollar rand. And so, like I've been saying, when gold goes up, the US dollar goes down. And so, if you've been trading gold with support and resistance, I'm sure you've been seeing a lot of losses. And that just happens when you have to understand correlations and fundamentals. You shouldn't have been selling gold throughout this whole COVID period. I wasn't even trading gold this whole COVID period because it was just up, up, and up. But I'm going to show you my analysis on gold because, yeah, but that's another video. I'll show you my analysis on gold. But essentially, what's happening in gold is that um, a cup and handle formation is was that essentially a lot of people were sort of positive. A lot of them are actually taking a lot of loans. The situation is going to last. So, which is showing weakness. So, and also this, if you don't understand fundamentals, you don't have to really understand them, but they help you in identifying which pairs to look for. Because this is a bullish flag. It typically is a bullish flag. It's the same one as the Euro Rand, I think a few weeks ago. So if you didn't understand the fundamentals, you could have just traded and continue going up. That's the hope and the plan. But it just shows you have to always keep up to date with fundamentals and especially with gold. Gold now is starting to see a bit of a fall. And in my analysis, well, I'm going to show you in the next video of basically my analysis for gold and how the cup and handle formation is forming on gold. And what happens with the cup and handle formation is that price will hit an all-time high, which is what we were expecting on gold, which was that it was going to hit an all-time high. And then after it's hit an all-time high, it basically pulls back. And then once it's pulled back for a bit, hopefully the US dollar is going to continue to go up while the gold is pulling back. And then obviously after the big pullback, gold will be back again to even higher highs than 2000. And that's just because COVID's not going anywhere. No one has a vaccine yet, and there might be a second lockdown worldwide. And obviously, weaker economies means a higher gold. And so, to wrap it up, guys, it's important for you to know fundamentals. Obviously, fundamentals is new to most people, even those who study economics. It's always new information, and it will do you some good to read a lot of articles on FX Street. And be careful though, which articles you read, because a lot of them just write articles, but they're not trading. And you see that because they release articles every hour. And so, yeah, but basically, if you're learning fundamentals, you can learn them on FX Street or obviously books like Principles by Ray Dalio is a good one. Um, there's so many good books, Snowball, Warren Buffett. There's so many books that teach fundamentals. And apparently, no, I wouldn't recommend George Soros's books on economics. They really don't help much, I'll be honest to you. So, but FX Street articles, they're very helpful when learning a lot of fundamentals. So it's also listening to what's going on with the news. And then when the news aligns with your technicals, like here, where you can see a bullish flag, and then there's also news that the rand is weakening, or they don't tell you that the rand is weakening. But obviously, if you're hearing news that that the South African government wants to take a loan from the IMF and that most people are unemployed and are seeking loans, then obviously that tells you it's a weak rand. And then you start looking for opportunities when the technicals and the fundamentals align. That's really important for you to note. Let me just see when the news was released. This is an indicator I use for news to alert me whenever there's news, so that I know, that I should be aware of news. Because when you're aware of news, then you can basically bring your stop losses to break even. You know what you're looking for. Essentially, let's go down. Because your research, exactly, here's what happened. Here was US dollar news, right? Here was US dollar news, but this is what triggered it. First, this push down, and then obviously the US dollar and the Rand news was coming out between this period here. And that's when I entered where this arrow is. So it all aligns. Fundamentals, yes, you can trade technicals without fundamentals, but ultimately it's better to understand them and to align them together, simply because it's the fundamentals that moves the market. Yes, you could be correct on a technical trade, but what happens then is that you will sit on a trade that doesn't move because there's no fundamentals. Now, fundamentals don't change the direction, so it's possible for you to just trade technicals without even understanding much about fundamentals. But you still have to understand correlations like with gold and the US dollar. You can't trade not knowing that. Or gold, the yen, and the US dollar, you have to understand, and the dollar index and the euro, you have to understand these kind of principled fundamentals. If you don't, you'll find yourself losing a lot of money by selling gold during an economic downturn, which is the worst mistake you can make. Yeah, so, anyways, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, last thing. So be very careful when someone tells you you don't have to understand fundamentals. You do have to understand fundamentals, because you will place a trade and you'll buy where everyone is selling, and then you'll sell when everyone is buying. So you need to understand that. And in order for you to have trades that really push, you need fundamentals. That doesn't mean that your fundamentals are going to be different from the technicals. It's usually in the same direction. So usually fundamentals push the markets in the direction of the technical. So for example, if your analysis is saying it's a bullish flag, it's usually that the news that's released is also bullish. Sometimes it's opposite, but what tends to happen is it will go in the opposite direction and then shoot up immediately in the technicals direction. So that's also important to note. Fundamentals, technicals, they go hand in hand. It's possible to trade without them, but it's not a good idea. It's really not a good idea. And you'll see it when you really place a trade and the market goes against you, and like everyone knows it's a sell, and you're the only one who's trading technicals.